My name is Norma Naranjo, and I'm from Ohkay, Owingeh. And my husband Hutch and I are farmers and ranchers, and we have a small business called The Feasting Place out of Ohkay, Owingeh, and it's out of our home. Corn has been a legacy in our communities, in our native communities, and I think that it's always been played a big role. That's why I think it's a legacy. And it's been handed down from generation to generation. And without the corn, we wouldn't have certain traditions that go along with it. So I think it's always played an important part of our culture and our tradition.
We learned at an early age also of how we would go out into the fields with our grandfathers, and they would teach us how to take care of the land and the corn and how to nurture it to where it matures, and then how to preserve after it's matured and how to preserve it before it matures. So we would learn how to dry it, how to pick, when to pick it, and use it for food. And my mother was also a single mom. So when we were growing up, we grew up with our grandfather and grandmother. So they taught us a lot in our culture and how to farm and grow. So I think it's very important for us as grandparents now to teach our kids, our grandkids, how to preserve the corn that we grow. And that's very important to us as Native people.
This is our big table that we use during feast time. We have feast days, and so we have this big table for that. This is the horno that we use to roast the corn.
You can use these for the chicos also. There's two different methods that you can make chicos with, and this is also one of them. That process is you build a fire, and then you leave all the ashes and stuff inside, and then you throw your corn with the husk in it, and then you cover up the hole, the end where you put the corn in, and also the air hole on the side, and leave it overnight, and then in the morning you take it out and it's done.
Okay. This is the corn that we did, and it's all getting dried now. We took it off the husks. The process of making chicos is, first of all, growing it and making sure that you pick it at the right time when it still has milk in the kernels, and then husking it, and then boiling it or putting it in the horno. And the sixth phase is to put it out to dry. And now this is the seventh phase. And we're going to show you what we do. And it requires teamwork.
When we pick the chicos for the chicos, see, if you don't get any milk, it's too hard, so you can't make chicos then. So you pick the corn while you still have while it's still tender, so that way it'll be like this. And once it gets to this point here, you can either use it for pozole. There's a lot of people that make pozole with this, or like I do is I save it for seed. And this seed's been in our family for generations, so we save some every year, so we have something to plant the next year.
This is the 7th phase, as I mentioned. We're going to be taking it off the cob, and so we were fortunate that Hutch has this machine, and it will come off the cob easier than taking it by hand. So the 8th phase is cleaning it. Okay. So as you can see, there's a lot of different types of
You're in the light.
kernels. So what we're going to do now is we're going to clean it.
So we
So we clean it. We want to make sure that everything that is in the corn that doesn't belong in there is taken out. And once it's thoroughly clean, then we put it in a basket and we save it, and we're ready to put it in bags and we sell our chicos. Some people will just save it just to put in their beans and save it for special occasions, because I said it's rare to find. And this is how we package it. And then this is the blue corn meal, and this is the end result. This is what we use for the atole or the chaquewe. We say chaquewe in Spanish here, and then in native it's saquewe. So I'm putting like 2 cups of water, and then I'm adding a little bit of shortening, and we're going to let that melt in there. I want to kind of measure it so people know like how much. We're going to let this boil, the water boil. This is what we had for breakfast almost every morning growing up as children. And then you want to add a little bit of salt. My grandmother used to add some ashes, or you can add some baking soda, and that makes it a little bit more blue.